I say, whoa, now that what's happening with the world Shamans and them foul shot, aka the Toothless Wonder, reporting on the Bamboozled Again News Network. Forgive me, y'all. Normally, at least once a weekend, I try to go live, but I kind of got backlogged today, doing it due to it being the Sabbath, and I was just on rest mode. You dig? Last video I talked about, fasting and my personal experience, and how I just, I don't know if I necessarily had more energy, but I wasn't as tired. You know what I mean? But I decided to, take this day of rest and use it for the purpose thereof. Rest, reflection, just being easy with myself. In a day and time where things are very uncertain across the board, financially, spiritually, a lot of new agey stuff is filtering into conscious woke movement. People's attempts, or maybe their time release trigger to evolve spiritually out of the matrix, out of the programs of the Babylonian construct, let's say 9-to-5 culture, what we view success as, whatever have you, what we put our values in, right? So I was kind of mulling over this, and I'll probably be able to come back better live tomorrow at some point, probably in the afternoon, while I mull over some more, because I just be receiving so much information there, if you call it a download, that I'll be having to sift through it all, you feel me? That's why I haven't been as consistent with the content, because I've been just in marination mode on what I'm perceiving, and especially after, my monumentous victory over the narcissist in the court system and whatnot. You know what I mean? Checking myself, make sure I'm not getting egotistical, or I want to gloat over, someone who's tried to put me in the woo-wop, right? But that didn't happen. What actually happened was I felt bad for him. Now I understand, and I was thinking about this as well when, Stephen, I believe, was the first New Covenant martyr. And I read the story 1,000 times where he got stoned, and it said his face began to, paraphrasing please, his face began to shine, and he as well said, "Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do." And I'm like, wow, like how could he possibly have done that when these people are stoning him for false accusations? Now, I ain't gonna say I'm totally there, but I get it now. I get it. Because once you move, or as I've been brought forth in this new level of, let's say, spirituality, due to biblical obedience to the best of my ability, I just see the game. I feel different. I ain't even, now the person had vexed me for 7-8 months, attempted to hinder and tear my name up, whatever. But after I got the verdict, I wasn't talking now. I said, darn, Joe, I'm mad at Eden Kane to this, you feel me? Like, I can only imagine, okay, you spew whatever out in the public, right? But behind closed doors, and when you by yourself, I can only imagine how them demons beating your brain up. And I felt bad for him. I'm like, darn, Joe, like, nah, I still ain't gonna talk to him in wisdom, but I'm like, I don't even feel like that, cuz. I guess that's where the grace come in at. Now, this video will be highlighted, and I'll come back tomorrow, prayerfully, with a live about this, right? And this is highlighted by the brother on here on YouTube, Immortal Minds. And he was, I forgot the title of the video, but he was talking about modern dating and what has actually happened, where there's this great chasm being created in what I'm seeing in social observation in the dating world, where because of, let's say, the social climate, the judicial laws that brothers may have not been necessarily mindful of or naive to or whatever, right? Brothers with these experiences that have spawned, let's say, red pill to manosphere, and its various doctrines of, what's that, MGTOW and monk mode and passport bros and whatever case may be. What has actually happened, and I talked about this in a previous video called the spiritual epigenetic process, where I caught a video about some South African grasshopper that was like a regular grasshopper, but because of the environment changes, it had to change and adapt to survive, so it became more aggressive. It started exhibiting physical changes, to deal with, the environment changes, so on and so forth. Brothers, here's what's happening. You either evolve or perish. And my evolution, when I think about it, wasn't necessarily intellectual, even though I do take in information and knowledge and seek to apply it if it's pertinent. To the best of my intellectual knowledge at the time, my obedience, not to the church, but to the scriptures as it's written, has brought forth a natural evolution that I see to be so valuable in today's time. Nowadays what's happening is you either evolving and growing to life, or you're staying, or you're rigid, you refuse to evolve, and you'll perish because the game is passing you by. See, the game of the 60s, let's say, you buy a house and maybe that's 30 grand and you can support a family. That game has passed us by. So you have to evolve or perish. One of my counselors said this and it stuck with me. He said, your success in treatment, a la getting off drugs and alcohol and then living some type of life, that's harmonious to the best of your ability, will be predicated on your ability to recognize the change and how fast and quickly you can adapt. Instead of why is it changing and it's 2 weeks later and you're still wondering why it's changed. I don't care why it changed. I can't stop that it's changed. It's changed. Now what do I do in response to the change? But again, the game on spiritual. So when Brother Immortal Minds was talking about and I've seen it on, social media where there'll be like these single mixers and 100 ladies show up and no brothers. Or, like the Tracy Ross just coming up with whatever they're saying as far as I only want to date younger men or whatever. All that is a response or desperation attempts because what used to work for the ladies when the brothers were at a former state per se isn't working anymore. Even in the spiritual world, the same witchcraft spells and so on and so forth, or love spell, it's not working the same. It's lost its potency because they used it too much. They went beyond the mark. And I've said this, where I say, let's say, like I deal with ants on my front step or something, right? Now I'll buy some rays, spray the ants. Couple seasons go by, I spray the ants. It seemed like they backstroking doing Michael Phelps on the stuff. It seemed like they've grown a tolerance to it. But in this, what I'm saying, I think brothers, or speaking for myself, more so, I've grown an intolerance to that which used to vex me. I've grown an intolerance to street culture. I've grown an intolerance to modern women. I've grown an intolerance to organized religion. Actually, I've probably grown an intolerance to everything that Babylon has set up. That's why I don't fool with it. And because I don't fool with it, nor do I long for it, don't none of it mess with me. And I'm just skipping down the road for the most part. And granted, life presents itself however it does that. But because I have the energy, because nothing is drawing from my energy, then I can put all my energy spiritually or mentally into whatever the situation is. Whether it be child custody, whether it be car issues, whether it be financial, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have nothing else pulling from me as a distraction. I believe brothers are now valuing their peace, and I'm probably the president of that club, above all else. And a lot of times, here's what, see, I'm all over the place, right? There's a market correction coming, not just in the financial world, but I believe the financial world trickles down to society and how people deal with each other and so on and so forth. So let's say tariffs hit price. I don't know if they have or have. I can't even really tell, to be honest with you. But it'll happen at some point because the words say that. So let's say, eggs are $20. The functionality of life is more extreme due to inflation and then hyperinflation. All that OnlyFans models and all that transactional dating is going by the wayside because the market correction, if brothers don't have the disposable income to do that, then that means your industry falls apart. Here's where the word talks about, shucks. I know it talks about like a loaf of bread costing a day's wage. So if a loaf of bread costs a day's wage, how much are the harlot woman be able to sell herself for? As just like the stock market, in an overinflated market. When in reality, what you're buying doesn't have the value that you think it do. They just, like I seen this one where the De Beers company back in the day, let's say 20s, 30s, they went to South Africa somewhere and the diamonds was plentiful. But what they did was they only mined a certain amount of diamonds to create artificial scarcity. And then they came up with this social program in America that tied marriage and diamonds together like peanut butter and jelly to create a market for something that didn't have a market, that was actually plentiful. They just made it not plentiful. So when you bought this thing that's actually plentiful, you're thinking you're getting a rare item. Now, segue me, please, which I don't understand this. Like I said, I'm all over the place. Whatever happened to real diamonds? Now all the diamonds these rappers and people be wearing be moissanite. So what happened to real diamonds? Now, diamonds, from my understanding, aren't valuable, but I do think they might have some degree of some industrial use as far as being a conduit, or you know how gold and silver has other properties and whatnot. So maybe all them fake elite people are harvesting or hoarding the real diamonds and selling you moissanite. Bamboozled again. You know what I mean? Every day, babe. It's mad wild out here, but nothing is. That's why in this world, right, they'll get you to sell your soul for cheap because it's actually the most valuable thing you had. I've left jobs because it looked like it might chip away at my spirit and my soul and my harmoniousness. F that money. Money all over the place. And the money is an illusion. You know what I'm saying? I'll be the type, brother, sign a record deal. Of course, I'm not going to do that because I know they all down with Beelzebub now. But just say for the sake of argument, right? I'll sign a record deal. Instead of giving me $1 million, I tell you what, I'm going to cut you a deal. I'm going to sign for $500,000, but I'm going to need a $100,000 piece of property. I'm going to need you buy, you know what I mean, get me about $50,000 worth of gold. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to test it, make sure, because I don't trust y'all. You know what I'm saying? And I can run it up from there. And then let's say I'm in debt to y'all. But whatever I've been able to garner with what you gave me at a lower price because I see it as valuable, I can take that land and use that to produce something to pay you back extraordinary, get out from underneath of you, and now it's mine. Now I do like I do everywhere else when I don't like what's going on and walk away. And then you get mad at me because you try to put the hooks in me, not realizing I came into the meat with a hook remover. Message. I'm not necessarily intelligent or smart because I'm just intelligent or smart. I'm intelligent, smart, and dare I say moved in obedience into wisdom because it was a matter of survival. Now I see my ability, my spirituality, my spiritual disciplines, how I take care of my health, how I can self-correct. That's a matter of survival. Being able to not move in lust is a survival tactic. Because if I can't, my hard-won progress will be negated with one miscue in lust, or one miscue in allowing someone to abridge my personal boundaries. And that's as real as it get. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes, because of the major high setup and these distractions, you know, BBLs that stink and, you know, rapper stuff or, you know, stuff going on in community, you know what I mean? The game don't change. The game does evolve, but the players keep changing. You know what I'm saying? You can get so caught up in that it'll kind of hold your mental focus. That's why I think isolation is actually a necessity, even though it's very vexing when you first get into it. Because I'm now able to actually explore my mind. And I don't even know how much I actually be thinking, but in the isolation or in the natural process of doing that, the stuff comes to me. Another time I'll be thinking, okay, I want to make a video, but I don't know what to talk about. So then I just hurry up, click the button, stop overthinking, and then it just naturally comes out. You know what I'm saying? Technically, if you're overthinking, it's because you don't know what you're doing. You don't always have to know what to do, but you'll know what to do when the time comes if it's a matter of necessity. Just like they shut down the stores. Okay, yeah, darn, what are we going to eat, da-da-da. The way your brain will work, you will naturally, it's amazing how the brain works and how it stores information you're not cognitive of. I told my partner this one time. Say they shut down all the stores because of whatever, right? Your brain will actually trigger a memory to your conscious mind of you seeing some fish at the pond and they look extra chug, yo. You wasn't thinking, remember that. A lot of what I just told y'all here about when my counselor told me your success will be predicated on your ability to recognize the change and how quickly you can adapt to the change. When he said that, I wasn't thinking, yo, I need to remember this. He said it real slick. But at the time, I was like, yo, I should remember this. It wasn't until years later that it popped back in my head. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I do remember him saying that. You know what I mean? But we're in a space where it's either naturally evolve, like all the other species on Earth, you know what I'm saying? Or you can say it's doom and gloom, but it's just a reality situation. You're going to perish. I was talking to my partner who's a truck driver, and I had seen a clip, or my man sent me a publication. The first driverless semi-trucks have been rolled out, or they're doing their routes from Baltimore to Houston, Dallas, or something like that. So I sent it to my man because he's in that industry. So when we were talking earlier today, we were talking about some other stuff, and then I so happened to bring that up. And he was like, oh, man, Calvin, here you come with the bad news. He was like, man, you know I don't know how to do nothing else. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I utilize now, I didn't know how to do it. But because I seen it as a matter of survival, I learned stuff, or I taught myself stuff I ain't know because it's a matter of survival. You know what I'm saying? You know how they say an old dog can't learn new tricks? He will if it's a matter of survival. You might not be necessarily the most aggressive individual, but put you in a situation where you got to fight all the time, you'll naturally learn how to do it to survive. They said ingenuity is bred out of necessity. What I've been able to do in the 4 years of some change of sobriety, the vast majority of it I taught myself. Because in foresight, which is supposed to be a masculine thing, I started perceiving the skills I would need and how I would need to move before I became that. Because I know at some point in the future, I'm going to need it to survive. And I don't mean that's not necessarily survive as far as like roof over your head, food in your stomach. I mean survive as far as not being caught up in the clamps or the squeezing of society. You know what I mean? So I was still using drugs then. I already had in my mind, I'm not getting no shot. No. Not getting that. Because I don't want it. My body, my choice. There it is. You know what I'm saying? Because me not is a part of my survival. I don't care what you do, what you say, what you attempt to take from me. And then when you go through that and win these wars standing on your principles, it does something to your feng shui. It does something to your aura. See, all this like the Democratic woke Negro always pandering, always compromising. They just as weak as they want to be, man. And they can't get it back. Because all you got to do is give them a little resistance or a little backlash or a little bit of this, and they'll draw back on what they was talking about. I said, what's that the dude? Is that the Mike Todd dude? I seen a picture of him. It looked like he had a blouse on. Here's what's crazy, yo. I'm just all over the place. I don't even care, yeah. And I made a video about, not maybe entitled, but I talked about it, where I don't believe there are any new spirit, or it seemed like whatever program you're in, there's an accompanying spirit that resides there. So let's say you the street brother. There's a spirit of impulsivity, lack of emotional control and discipline, right? That's why I keep preaching crash out, because it feeds into that spirit, right? But I'm noticing there are two spirits operate in the black church, yo. One, you know what I'm talking about, and the other one is gluttony, if not both of them. I don't know what the percentage, but the vast majority of mainstream preachers that I see in the black Christian church, they're either one, gluttonous, or they look like they got some to them. You know what I'm saying? That's a spirit that, because they're not operating in obedience, that spirit is able to impose itself on them. I realized this from my years in treatment and keep messing up. I'm gonna have to go through this. But in going through this, I got the superpowers or the skills that I got now, right? I don't like nothing imposing itself on me. Now, I can follow leadership. I can follow directions. I can do all that. But as I said, the leadership ain't leading. They're just soul hoarding. It's not like these leaders are creating other leaders. Case in point, let's look at outside of the disciples, maybe the rap label PRE, it might be the only people I know do this or who have done this, right? Where their leader takes the drop and then they push the movement forward even though their leader is gone. Because he put something in their soul. He put something in their spirit that they can carry on with even if he's not around. So when they took out, let's say, Martin Luther King, the movement dropped. When they took out Malcolm X, for the most part, the movement dropped. When they hit the Black Panthers, the movement stopped. Nobody picked up the baton because, see, I'm looking, and who said this? My man on here, Honor and Soul, said this. I'm not looking for a moment. I'm looking for a movement. A movement as such that if something happened to me, whatever I've been able to do has possibly infected other people where they can take the movement and take it forward. Case in point, when Moses passed, they just didn't stop right there. The movement went forward with Joshua. It was just built on what Moses had done. You see what I'm saying? This is an inheritance and, you know what I mean, impact and so on and so forth. I've started now thinking about, I still not my daughter, but my daughter's 14 now. I'm starting to think about her children that she ain't even had yet. Now, hopefully and prayerfully I can marry her off and we can, be more traditional stuff like that. But, that fall on me. And I can't make no excuse. I'm only 4 years removed from drugs. And it's not even so much I got to figure it out. I done been stopped doing that. On a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. Just keep doing the right thing for the right reason. And that will put you on a path to what you can't think to manifest. I'm out the way, like through fast, I'm out the way all this thinking and I need to do this and get this. Man, I'm of the belief, and not an ego, that no matter what the situation, for me, what the situation come to, either one or two things gonna happen. I'm inherently know what to do, even though I've never done it before, or in my obedience, it'll be revealed what to do. So what is there to worry about? What is there to fear? We're fearing a bunch of worldly crap that really ain't real. I pay bills to be responsible, but the credit system is fake. You know what I'm saying? I really don't care nothing about it. I'll just give him to Caesar what's his. But it ain't like I'm going to lose my mind if I can't pay my bill. You know what I'm saying? Because when one door shut, another one open. Not in wishful thinking. I've seen him do it the past 2 years. So that's like me averaging 20 a game, going into the next game and overthinking how I'm going to get 20. I've been doing it. What is I'm talking about? See, that's where the adversary try to get me and overthink or get me to question stuff that I shouldn't even have to question. Can you continue to do something you've been doing? Huh? It make more sense if I'm trying to do something I've never done before. You know what I'm saying? The father of all lies and whatnot. So we can't really get mad if you see it from where I see it now as I walk this journey. So when people be lying, they're doing nothing more than taking on the attributes of their father. And that's what they shall do. So when people be lying and deceiving and perpetrating a fraud or making you think they more than what they is, and then you get to know them and be like, oh man, for real, you some poop, yo. That's what he do. That's where they getting it from. I tell you what, yo. For like as I call them, the Genghis Khan of YouTube, for those, they know what I'm talking about, yo. I ain't even mad at Cuz. He ain't did nothing to me. But I ain't even mad. Yo, I feel bad for that man, yo. Yo, his content is horrendous at this point. He's just mirroring other people and, not, exposing stuff for the purpose of exposing it. He exposing it for the salaciousness and the discord of it. You know what I'm saying? I feel bad for that man, Joe. I've been praying for my enemies here lately, yo. And they ain't do nothing to me. And if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be and know what I know now and be where I'm at now, yo. They're necessary. I was taking it personal. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure when the martyrs were martyred and they said, God forgive them, they know not what to do, they wasn't taking it personal. They understand the spiritual game. Or when my man Paul said, I think the Romans had called him or something, and, he ready to take the drop, so he's sending letters, I believe, to Timothy, and, one last for the homies, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, yo, then he thought back after his conversion on the road to Damascus. He said, yo, since that point, yo, I've been shipwrecked. I'm paraphrasing, don't quote me on this. I think he said, I've gotten 40 lashes minus one a couple times. I've been darn near naked. during the night, homeless essentially, been in want, hungry, you know what I'm saying? I think he got hit with some stones a couple times, you know what I'm saying? Or they tried to run him out of town. And now, at the end of life, he said, yo, I done fought the good fight. You know what I'm saying? And I know that there's a reward for me. He talk about how, he had something, I think, vexing him or hindering him. And he asked the Most High remove me. He said, no. He said, I just give you the grace to deal with it. He said, I've been through all that, this conversion, all the stuff. I went blind and all his head. He said, yo, I fought the good fight, yo. I'm ready to be poured out like a drink offering. He wasn't even depressed. He's like, yo, I went, word up. You know what I mean? Man, all this stuff fake, man. This reminds me of, again, I'll go back to the Matrix kind of thing or analogy where, what was that dude name? What was his name? Stryker. So Stryker is outside of the Matrix. He's been freed from the Matrix. But for whatever he's having to deal with, let's say, in his spiritual rebirth, it actually seems more easier or better to go back in the Matrix. So I guess the Skynet or whatever was able to co-opt him. That's a reoccurring theme in the stuff like Betrayal and the Judas kind of thing, right? The Benedict Arnold action. Where I know this place that I'm selling out for ain't real. You know what I'm saying? But at least I get to eat a steak, and it tastes like steak even though I know it's not really real. You know what I'm saying? That's amazing when you think about it, yo. And I've seen a lot of people do that. Or the proverbial falling away from the faith. I know this big booty IG model don't like me. I know she ain't really here because she, here because of me. You know what I'm saying? I know it's fake. I just want to live in the dream world. You know what I'm saying? Here's another thing, and I forgot to say this. I know I'm all over the place. In reference to what I discovered in my personal experience on fasting, right? And I read this book when I was in treatment, and it was called The Gift Giver. And at the end of the book, it said, what do you love more? The gift or the gift giver? And when I'm in fasting mode, right? Like, I'm just, I don't know, it might be walking through the hall and I say, all praise to the Most High. Like, it puts me in a state of praise, right? Because now, he can do certain stuff. And would I like for him? Yeah, of course. But now I'm starting to fall in love with who he is. Not necessarily what he can do for me. That I hope and pray, and if not, oh well. But you ever been with somebody and you become enamored with just who they are? And the Care Bears fly out your eyes, and you get that I just love everything that you bees about. You know what I'm talking about? I just love who you are, the attributes and the characteristics that you hold. Not the fact you got a Lexus car and that's pluses and all that. But strip all that away, just you as an entity. Oh, I ain't never seen nothing like that. That's why I'm at with I ain't never, the stuff he done walked me through and all the times, man, it's all like, I'm smitten at this point. And now, I guess in the bridegroom, I'm just trying to be a faithful partner at this point, yo. I'm just trying to learn what you like so I can put a smile on your face. My reward just seeing you smile. You know what I'm talking about? You done it all. You ain't got to do nothing else for real. Just let me make you smile. You feel me? And on that note, I'ma holler at y'all, man. One love, baby. Boy.